You know what? It's probably from all that rookie hazing we got as a rookie at some point. A veteran probably said, "You better not wear sleeves when you come out, man." And after that, we've been scarred for life.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays with Jolly Saint Nick Mangold, the 7-time Pro Bowler on the Hall of Fame ballot. Look at him. His Jets covered last week. Welcome into Nick Mangold and greatest show on turf, left tackle, Hall of Famer. Also in the Christmas spirit. A big week for Orlando Pace, who busted the 1 and 2. He was 2 and 1. He actually beat Nick. Congratulations, Orlando. Let's start right there for a second.
Look, I'll take a win when I can, man. I'm telling you, last week you guys were like, "Hey, it's over, concede, Orlando," and then I come back with a two-win week. So I'll take that win when I can. Obviously, I was stuck on 1 and 2 for a number of weeks, so to get over that hump is big for me.
So this is the craziest time we've seen in the NFL since, last season. You've got guys getting the chance to play that no one's ever heard of. Some of them are actually representing and helping their teams. But look, if Nick Mangold's lining up to play center, Orlando's at left tackle, and you're looking to your right, you're looking behind you, and you don't know the guy who's there, just off the practice squad or whatever, picked up. I mean, how difficult is this for guys right now when you've got a third of the team missing? Yet there's also a lot of talented guys out there. Like, Nick, how do you look at this for guys who are actually able to play each week?
Yeah, it's crazy. I think, with the world that we're in with this COVID stuff and the way that, they had this onslaught for this past week, where you're looking at 10, 15, 20 guys are getting dinged from each team, that is, unprecedented, and no one's ever seen it. I have had times where I've been in the huddle and a wide receiver will come in when I was, some of the not so good teams. And so, we're churning through people, and a wide receiver will come in and introduce himself in the huddle. Like, "Yeah, I just signed yesterday. Like, nice to meet you guys." And so it's very odd and weird. Like, this is where we are. But for teams, that usually happens for teams that are not doing well. The COVID doesn't care if you're, if you're 10 and 3 or 3 and 10, it doesn't matter. So you could have a team that's really rolling and not have the guys that they need because of the virus. So I feel like it's got to be an unnerving thing, knowing like, hey, listen, I could wake up tomorrow, feel fine, test positive, and be like, "Oh, I can't play." And so now the next man up. And so it's got to be a wild time in the NFL, and especially in that locker room, knowing like you could just be a ticking time bomb and you have no idea what's going on. You have no idea whether you're going to make it, whether the guy next to you is going to make it. It seems like that uncertainty, it would, kind of creep in to the everyday life.
Yeah, it's one of those difficult times. Teams typically go through it throughout the course of a year, but to Nick's point, it's normally a bad team. But when you see good teams going down, you got new guys coming in with their opportunities to play in the National Football League. It's good, but if you're playing next to that guy, you just want him to make plays, right? And you try to help him out as much as you can, especially as offensive linemen. Make the calls. Let's just stick to it and go. If we're wrong, we're wrong, but we're all gonna be doing the same thing. But it's just so odd and weird, man. When you got a New Orleans Saints team that doesn't have their coach, missing the third of their players, and can shut out a Tom Brady team that has Super Bowl aspirations. This is a wild year, man. And so you just never know from week to week, and that's what I'm blaming my picks on this year, man. That's why I've been wanting to. So.
Two follow-ups on that. Bigger impact, a head coach or coordinator missing, or I don't know, cornerback, offensive lineman. One is what's the bigger impact? Missing a player or missing like literally the head coach?
That's tough because I think the bigger impact personally would be the guy next to you. So like to me, if my left guard that I've been playing with all year all of a sudden isn't out there and I got a new guy there, I think that to me would be a bigger impact personally than a head coach. But for the whole team in general, I think the head coach, it would be difficult, but I think the coordinator would be more difficult depending on what your head coach, where he is Is he an offensive guy? Is he a defensive guy? You lose your offensive coordinator, the guy that's been calling plays the whole time. And now all of a sudden you got a new guy calling plays. I think that rhythm, trying to find that rhythm in the first quarter would be very difficult. So I think there's two philosophies for me. I think it's one, team-wise, I think it would be tougher to lose a coordinator rather than a head coach. And personally, I think as a player, it would be tough to lose the guy next to me. If we lost like the middle linebacker, that really wouldn't affect me, and it wouldn't matter as much. But if we lost, my left guard, that would kind of change the whole game up for me as a player.
Orlando, do you trust the NFL's integrity on this? Because now they're doing random testing, random groups. So, I mean, are they testing Patrick Mahomes before the Chiefs play a playoff game? Do you trust that they'll do that?
Listen, I don't look. I know they're doing less testing this from everything I hear, but I don't think they're. I think they won't be testing the Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady's, Aaron Rodgers of the world, just because those are the big name guys that's going to drive this league, and they can't really move games back. Their playoff schedule is set. The Super Bowl is always going to be, on that same date. So, I think they're probably testing like the guys, the third, fourth string guys, randomly. I would say that, and no more coaches will probably be tested randomly either. But it's just the way the game is now, and it's so much going on. I don't think any of the big name guys will be in the protocol anytime soon. So, but I think they need to go to the bubble format. I just think, because you get into the playoffs, man, everybody needs to stay in hotels, try to keep everybody safe. I think that's the way to go. And I think if you have a smart team or smart organization, they'll do that. Hey, for the playoffs, we're just going to stay in the hotel. Sorry, you got to sacrifice your family, but we're going back to like camp and have everybody in that bubble.
Nick, I see you smiling and nodding. I'm guessing you don't completely trust the NFL's integrity on all integrity issues.
I trust them as far as I can throw them. I think they are doing the smart thing in general with the testing of, if you're fully vaccinated, you have your booster and you've done all the things that you can do. If you're not showing symptoms, I don't think we should be testing you. I don't think there's any point to it. Like, I think we're chasing after things that don't need to be found out. If you have symptoms and those things, especially as a vaccinated person, then you need to find these things out. But with the way that they were just doing a blanket testing, all over, and the way that the new variants are rolling through, I feel like they were just looking for trouble instead of just going along. But when we talk about random testing, it's always, you'd show up Monday morning and somebody who had a huge defensive game, maybe 3 sacks and a forced fumble or something, all of a sudden would randomly be selected for the steroid testing. Like, and how random is that? Come on, let's be real here. So if we're manipulating testing as it is anyways, I don't think Brady's nose is going to be swabbed until after the Super Bowl. That's how it's going to go.
And I'm not totally opposed to it. If every day people walking around that's vaccinated, booster shots, whatever it might be, nobody's testing those guys. If they're not showing any symptoms or anything like that, I would say only test the guys that show some symptoms. I could get roasted for that, but that's part of what it is, right?
It's the Wild West of COVID. Everybody stay safe out there, and we'll move on. But this is the biggest story in the NFL right now. Listen, I want you guys to get on the competition committee. I want you to talk to some referees, and there are just some really odd calls that go on in literally every NFL football game that fans are scratching their head, and it's exhausting is how I would put it. So, Orlando, give me an NFL rule that you would change if they came to you and said, Mr. Pace, we want to make our game even better, or and something that would be more equitable, however you want to look at it. What NFL rule would Orlando step into and say, you know what, get rid of that or add this, however you want to go?
You know what? I would probably say, tough one. I would probably say defensive holding sometimes, just being alignment. Sometimes those guys hold it. They don't call it nearly as much as they call the offensive holding. in the trenches, guys trying to keep linemen from going up to the backs. That's just one of them that you know, I think that should not be changed, but be emphasized a little bit more. The NFL's the one thing they've done a great job of cleaning up the game a little bit in terms of, you know, guys taking these guys knees out. But I think just the defensive holding from that standpoint. And then, is there a way we can speed up the replay process a little bit? I think that one of the things that they do, sometimes you're watching the game and they got to, we can see it ourselves that it's not holding or not a fumble or whatever it might be. I wish we could speed the game up a little bit. Would probably be my biggest thing I would love to see.
All right, you're going down a whole path here. I got a lot of problems with these people. All right, I'm gonna air them. It's season of Festivus. I got problems left and right. My first one being, and I like that Orlando went defense holding, because that as an offensive lineman, it really honks me off. Taunting is one of the big ones that really makes me mad, and it's usually on defense. And I don't care for those guys anyways, but you got to be able to let guys play. It's an emotional game. You know, there's going to be taunting. That's just how it is. Trying to eliminate the emotion is just making guys robots. And I don't like that. I don't think it's good for the NFL. The other big one that I would really take a look into is roughing the passer. And as we all know, I'm a big supporter of protecting quarterbacks and taking care of those guys. But some of these calls is just, and they're not called equally. You know, Tom Brady gets roughing the passer if a guy breathes on him. Justin Fields, you know, can get meleeed and they're not going to say anything. And it's like, you know, it's the haves and haves nots. You know, are you the veteran? Are you the face of the NFL? You know, we're gonna protect you. Are you a new up and coming guy that is trying to earn his way? We don't really care. We're going to look the other way. So it's not done equally, and it's done too much. And so that would be the big one for me. The quarterbacks are really taken care of too far. I think you see those old films and you see these guys like quarterbacks back in the day. I mean, they would get, if they had a sack, they would get destroyed. And that was kind of one of those things. It was like, you know, that's part of the game. And so we've tried to take that out of it for player safety or whatever. But I think we've gone too far where, you know, a guy's hand hits the shoulder pad and it's like, and the flag comes out, it's 15 yards, you know, we're moving down the field, it's first down. So those would be the two big ones that I would really look into. And I mean, I would eliminate taunting immediately and then roughing the passer, try to find a way to find a more, a better way to make it more equal and to lessen the severity of it.
Our big man bets. Go ahead, Orlando.
No, I agree with you, and I know you speak. Aaron Rodgers the other couple weeks ago, I was watching the game, and he looked at the ref because somebody pushed him after 2 steps. They threw the flag. The next series, Justin Fields get grazed around his face mask, no flag. I'm like, dude, this is the equity of the cause, man, is ridiculous. And, you know, so I think everybody should be treated like either like Tom Brady, or everybody should be treated like, you know, if they touch them, you know, they should be, you know, roughing the passer. The equality of it should be better. I agree with that.
I want to know if my O-linemen are feeling a little sympathy for the defensive secondaries out there. You go for the ball, you follow through the ball, you end up hitting the guy maybe you get his helmet, but it's after you get the ball, and they're calling penalties on these guys. Or you're diving to make a tackle, and some guys are making tackles, and they're getting called for a penalty. Because for targeting, how they can't even, to me that is like that. How are you supposed to play football if you're these guys? You're trying to break up a pass at 1,000 miles an hour. It's ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah, it's tough to call. Yeah, it sounded like there was a personal cause this weekend that went against you a little bit, right?
Well, yes, in the Bear game, but like I don't care. The Bears are done, but I just like, look, man, like, come on, that's not. We've all been watching football our whole life. We know what football is. We know what football is, and that dude just had a sweet breakup of that's an incredible play, and I don't know. Pass interference to me is exhausting too. Like there's some context got to be allowed out there. Okay, great, you cracked the guy, 3 seconds before the ball's there. That's pass interference. A battle down the sidelines. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
and I think that it needs to be equity in that too. I think when sometimes you can touch guys past 5 yards, and some games they're really physical, some games they're not. It varies, and there's no real consistency in that pass interference calling.
Yeah. All right, we teed up a lot of issues there. All right, let's move on. Topic 3. Love you for watching Big Man Bets. Thanks to everybody out there. MVP, 3 weeks to go. Brady gets shut out. Aaron Rodgers rising. Chiefs on a roll. Patrick Mahomes back in the conversation. Top 3 for your MVP in order. The pressure is on. Oh, Orlando's already just the big sigh. You can answer this however you want it, but I'm asking it that way. Top 3 MVP. I love an order. Orlando, I'll let you go second here. Nick, what do you got?
Let Orlando stew over this one. So even with Tom having an off night, I feel like the Buccaneers always have trouble with the Saints. Like in recent years, it's been a struggle. I'm still looking at this one. Aaron Rodgers is still, I think, my leader. So he's number 1. The wild card that I've thrown in there now, after watching him and after seeing some of the performances that he's made, especially the way that he was still able to run the ball against New England, knowing that New England was doing everything in their power to stop him. Jonathan Taylor from the Colts, I think he needs to be talked about in the conversation. So I'm going to put him at number 2. And then I'm going to keep Tom at number 3A, just because I feel like his yards, his touchdowns, the way that he's been playing are still up there, with Patrick Mahomes being 3B. So I gave you 4. It was only 3 numbers. I did the A and B to make it better. But I think that's my order as it is right now.
Creativity. Thy name is Nick Mangold. I like it. I completely allowed. Good job. And Jonathan Taylor, look at you getting props from Big Man Bets. Orlando, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, it's I think Aaron Rodgers is probably playing the best football right now. He has the best, obviously has a really good skill set and a good team, and he's doing it week in and week out. I've been riding the Colts bandwagon lately. I like Jonathan Taylor for what he's doing. I hope he should be the clear-cut winner just because of what he's been doing. And I love to see running backs win the MVP. And then I'm gonna have to go Patrick Mahomes. Although he's not having a great season, I think he set the bar so high. I think but he's coming on slowly but surely, and I think down the stretch he'll make a run for MVP. So those are my 3, and then obviously Tom is another guy, but as you know, it's all subject to change. With Tom being shut out last week, that's why I moved him down to 4. But those are my three top MVP choices.
Offensive Player of the Year. Are you guys giving it to Taylor? Or are you going to go Aaron Rodgers, Orlando?
Yeah, I'm giving it to Taylor, man. I think what he's done. Obviously with the Colts and his rushing, and in a passing league where everybody's passing and running backs are splitting time, he's getting it done. So I love to see him run the ball and what he does on the field for the Colts.
Yeah, I like that too. I'm going to stick with that as the Offensive Player of the Year. It's going to be a big challenge these last couple of weeks because everyone knows that he's going to run the ball, and will he be able to still run the ball even though that everyone knows it? And he proved that he could against New England. New England, who does their best at stopping your best weapon and making you win with your second and third option. Couldn't stop Jonathan Taylor. So I feel like he's going to continue on, and I think he should win it because I feel like voters are always going to give the MVP to a quarterback anyways. So at least this gives him some hardware, as an offense player, because he has done a fantastic job running the ball, doing these screen passes. I think he's played really well.
I noticed in your top 3, as per always, it's rare you get a defender in there, but so let's do Defensive Player of the Year, Nick. Who you giving the crown to?
I know he's a rookie, and I don't like rookies, but I love what the kid in Dallas is doing, Micah Parsons. The way that he's playing, the way that he's getting after guys. I feel like he's elevated the game of defense, and you always need to be aware of where he is. I think offensive coordinators have to plan. Like, all right, here's where he's going to be, and here's how we got to stay away from him. If you're getting that type of planning, I think you should be in the talk for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I like Parsons too. Even though he's a rookie, I think he still has an opportunity to win it. Myles Garrett with the Cleveland Browns is having a phenomenal year in terms of sacks. And then TJ Watt's a guy, when you watch him play, you just, he's a difference maker on the field. I know he's been injured a lot, but he's almost unblockable when he's out. So obviously those are my three guys in terms of defensive player of the year. So, but Parsons is what he's doing as a rookie is second to none. You don't see rookies coming into the league that could put that kind of pressure on offensive tackles and opposing offenses. So, you almost got to give it to Parsons as defensive rookie of the year and defensive player of the year.
Does Nick Mangold have a rookie story where you just would not talk to a guy or did something that you feel guilty about that you want to get off your chest right now?
No, I don't feel guilty about anything I've done. Did I make a couple of rookies' lives difficult? Possibly. My client cannot confirm or deny that. But it's one of those things. Like I didn't like myself as a rookie, and I haven't liked rookies since. So it's one of those mental blocks that I have. Rookies I don't like them. There's nothing I can do about it. It's nothing against them. I'm sure they're all great people. I just don't like rookies.
Wait, what did you do wrong as a rookie that if older Nick could have talked to rookie Nick, you would have told him what?
No, I think rookie Nick was a fantastic rookie. I kept my mouth shut. I did as I was told. I took it and, thank you, sir. May I have another? So I think as a rookie, I think I was the best rookie there's ever been. I still didn't know anything. I didn't have any experience. And, that as veteran Nick, doesn't like people that don't have experience.
I got it. So what do you think of that? Rookie Nick was the best rookie ever, Orlando.
I love it, man, and I love the way Nick couldn't really go into detail because the statute of limitations. He's not sure if it's still out there. Any of that rookie hazy, he doesn't want to talk about whatsoever. Which I get it, but the best rookies are the rookies that don't say anything, just go to work. And as I was leaving the league, or my last few years in the league, you start seeing these rookies come in and they're just talking like they've already arrived, and those are the worst type of rookies, man. I'm telling you, you want to, not. I'll be quiet too, but that's old school NFL football, man. Rookies have to know their place in that locker room and in your offensive line room. Just be quiet, work hard, and that's it.
See, Orlando wouldn't have been able to handle 2014, 2015 rookies. I mean, every one of them came in. They all knew exactly what they needed to do. They all thought, their poo did not stink. Yep. They knew everything there was about the world. It was harrowing times. Like if you thought 2006, 7, 8 range was bad, you should have seen it.
I could only imagine. And I know when you were coming in, you're like, who are like, dude, because the rookie, I would have been pulling my hair out, man, or something, or catching the case or something, man. At that point, you're like, dude, shut up,
All right, holiday season, team. We'll let the rookies alone here for the rest of the show, at least. Loved it. So the Washington football team, and this is interesting on both of your sets because, of course, Orlando, you played most of your career in a dome stadium, and Nick, you were in freezing cold New York, at least at the end of the year. Not the most cold, but you guys had some weather. So the Washington football team is bringing their benches on the road for warmth, which is super bold and not cheap, but hey, the NFL's got a lot of dough. But I want best strategies for cold weather. Where you sat, what you did, how you made it, like, I don't know, maybe it didn't even bother you, but like best strategies, cold weather. I guess, Nick, you have a little more cachet in this one, although Orlando, you played a year in Chicago too, so there's that. But Nick, why don't you start here, your cold weather strategies?
Yeah. So first, just the traveling with benches, I don't really understand it because any cold weather team that you went to, they would have benches on the visitor side that were the exact same thing that you would have at your home. There were the heated benches where you have the little flaps, you stick your feet in them, the hot air comes out, like it's a whole big thing. So I don't understand traveling with benches. It just seems stupid. It seems like a ploy to say, listen, we have our own benches. Like it seems like a complete waste of money just for clout, I guess. But those things actually, for me, the heated benches sometimes it was too much. And so like I would have to put a towel down before I sat down. And because they would just get too hot, and some guys liked it. To me, it was a little too much. I put a towel down and it would be fine. The biggest thing for staying, the worst part of cold weather games was not being on the bench, because they have those jet engine heaters, they have the heated benches, they have the little thing for your helmet you put on, so it keeps your helmet warm. The worst part was if you were out on the field and you went to TV timeout, and you're standing in the middle of the field, TV timeout, the wind is swirling, you can't go to the bench. There's nothing you can do. You just stand out there. You can't move. You're not going to be doing sprints up and down the field to try to stay warm. Like that was the absolute worst time. And so the best thing I could do, they'd come out with water. Immediately I would take the trainer's towel, and I would just wrap my hands, and I would just hold my hands and be like, please stay warm, because I never wore gloves. And so that was the biggest thing for me, was wrapping my hands up, trying to keep them warm. But it was never the sideline. Sideline was always fine, because with everything they had, it was almost like you were in this heat bubble. But when you're out in the middle of the field and TV timeout, forget about it. Like that was you're like, oh my God, this again. Like, we're doomed. That was tough.
Yeah. For me, my process was obviously no sleeves, but I would double up on the Vaseline. The Vaseline helps cut all the that's an offensive lineman trick. Just put it all over your arms. It helps cut the temperature down. But as a left tackle, I was pretty fortunate, because when I went over to the sideline on a really cold game, normally I'm sitting on the edge of the sideline and that heater's blowing, so I'm pretty warm there. So to your point, guys on the sidelines are it's heat everywhere, so you don't have a problem staying warm on the sideline. But those TV times out on like a Monday night game or a Sunday night game, they seem like it takes forever to get back on the field. As the cold is just whipping through you're like, dude, let's get up. Especially in the fourth quarter, you're like, dude, let's get out of here. It's too much, right? So those are the tough times. The Vaseline helped me tremendously. Also make my guns look good too. So that was the big thing, man. But those are just things that I always use in cold weather games.
So 2 follow-ups. Number one, and don't take this the wrong way, but what's wrong with you guys? It's 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning, 10 a.m. You're running out there. It's freezing. Why wouldn't you put sleeves on? Like, what's the? I don't get it. Like, can you go into the mindset, please?
I don't know what the real mindset is, other than we're a bunch of big idiots. But that was the rule. Like it was one of those things. I guess in our minds, it showed weakness. If you put sleeves on, it showed that you were weak. And I mean, it makes no sense. And in any rational thought, you're like, well, that's stupid. Like, wouldn't you rather be warm and be able to move and everything? But in our little bubble of a world, and what's crazy is like practice, I used to have the thermal. I'd have a sweatshirt on. Like I was decked out. Like I had a hat on underneath my helmet. Like I was bundled up to the nines. But we go out on Sunday, no sleeves, nothing. I think the most I would ever have on, I had a cutoff thermal turtleneck, and that was the most I would do. Like it was never sleeves, and it was because we're big dumb idiots that that's what we do.
Yeah, you know what? It's probably from all that rookie hazing we got as a rookie at some point. A veteran probably said, "You better not wear sleeves when you come out, man." And after that, we've been scarred for life in terms of toughness. But yeah, in practice, I'm bundled up, man. I got 2 layers of everything on, man, trying to get through practice. But game day, you got to be tough. You got to look, like you're tough, and the weather doesn't affect you, man. But trust me, it affects everybody.
Does any game stand out as like that was the coldest day? It was absolute brutal. Does anything jump to mind?
Yeah, we were playing Green Bay on a Monday night, probably late November, and it was just the ground was frozen, and every time you put it down, you could just hear the ground just this is before the actual turf was down, but it was like, dude, what are we doing out here? Like, guys, and as offensive linemen, you love it because those defensive linemen aren't moving nearly as fast. So you're like, dude, all right, because everybody's cold out there. So you're like, dude, let's just run the ball. I like because if the wind's whirling, we're not going to pass it 50 times. So we're just going to run it. So it's really an offensive lineman's dream where we can just run the ball and and do our thing. So.
Yeah, we played back-to-back games. It was 2009. It was when we get in versus Cincinnati at the old Giant Stadium, and it was frozen. It was freezing. Like the wind, would be whipping around, and I thought that was the coldest game I played in. And then we had to go to we beat them, got into the playoffs, and we had to go to Cincinnati and play them again. And it was even colder in Cincinnati. And I just remember sitting there, and it was just like, I thought we were done with the cold. Like, we did this. We've already done this. Now we've traveled, and it's now even colder. Those two back-to-back games was probably the coldest stretch I think I've ever gone through.
Y'all are men. Big men bets. Damn it, let's go. I thank you for shedding light onto the mentality, and I feel a little better at least that you get during practice you get decked out. That at least makes me feel like, all right, there's some normality going. Yeah. All right, holiday gift time. You can give whatever you want to one team in the NFL except your family here. So no gifts for the Jets, Nick, and Orlando. You don't give the Rams anything. By the way, they've gotten enough this year. If they don't have enough by now, it's hey, they've got a lot of gifts. Orlando, you want to start here? Holiday gifts for someone around the NFL?
Oh wow, I think that's a great question. I just being that I'm a de facto Browns fan, just some health and consistency, man. I don't know if that's a real gift, but the dog pound, yeah, absolutely. I think they have a chance to make a run. Obviously they got a ton of talent, and that division is wide open. So just to see what they could do, some health and some consistency for once would be great. A great gift to give those Browns, man, at this time. So
I don't like Cleveland, but I like the gift. I'm a big fan of giving gifts. My gift I'm going to give to the Detroit Lions, that they're going to win out for the season. Dan Campbell has that locker room. When we saw everything, and last week we went in on Urban, and it's funny, we tape on Wednesdays, and he gets fired on Thursday, and it was just like, we went after Urban, and then he gets fired. It was like, this is fantastic. You look at the two contrasts between those teams, and the way the locker room handled Urban and the way the locker room responds to Dan Campbell. And you look at the Detroit Lions, and I feel like that locker room, it has bought into everything he's doing. I like his passion. I like what he's doing. So I want to see him win out. I want to see him have an amazing offseason. And I'd love for Detroit to be back, to be relevant, to really push. Green Bay in that division and everything, because I think it would be fun. Justin Fields coming up. So I'm excited. So my gift would be the hope of winning for the Detroit Lions.
I appreciate what the Lions have done this year. Look at the sidelines in Chicago compared to Detroit too. There's a lot of ways the Lions have stayed together. Gentlemen, let's make some money here. You went head-to-head last week. Nick took the loss on that one, which, Orlando, you're still trailing on the season, but that's a good head-to-head win for you, taking the Colts over the Patriots. And then Orlando, you had the upset of the week too. Saints over the Bucks. Love it. Nick, you nailed your upset with Houston, and then you both dropped your over-unders. But so Nick comes in today at 25-18 with Orlando creeping back, still dead, but creeping at 20-23. Although, hey, I guess nothing's impossible if you win out here and Nick loses out. So, but Nick, don't do that. Pick of the week. What do you got? Give some people some dough here. Who do you like? WinBet, by the way, for all your gambling needs. WYNNBET.com.
I'd like to concede. Orlando had the better week. I would like Orlando to go first. 2-1. He got out of the slumber of 1-2. I raised my hand as a 1-2 man from last week. It's Orlando's turn to go first. Please.
I'll take it, man. One of the few times I get to go first on our betting odds here. But my game of the week is the LA Rams against the Minnesota Vikings, -2.5. And I think the Rams are on the road. I think they're playing well. I think they're peaking at the right time. Guys are getting back healthy. So I think it'll be a good game. I think, obviously Minnesota, Kirk Cousins, they have a ton of talent. They're just not doing a lot in terms of scoring. So I'm going with my Rams over the Minnesota Vikings -2.5.
All right. So the pick of the week for me, we've talked about him as an MVP guy. Aaron he's playing lights out. Coming back home, I'm taking, the Browns had a short week. They've been dealing with a bunch of COVID stuff. Packers -7 over the Browns. I think, I can't see Aaron losing this game. So I feel like he's just going to win the Packers to a win.
No one's having a better time in the NFL right now, seemingly, than Aaron Rodgers. That dude is just on a roll. Upset of the week. That means, Nick, you go first on the upset.
So in light of my giving gifts of winning to the Lions, I'm taking the Lions +6 over the Falcons. I think they're rolling. I think the confidence coming off of the Cardinals. I think this is a team that is not going to be lulled to sleep and being like, oh, listen, we're great. We beat the Cardinals. We're the greatest team ever. I think Dan Campbell's going to have them hungry. Like, listen, we were able to beat the Cardinals, and now let's go out and show that we can repeat it. So I think the Lions +6 is a great call for upset of the week.
Wow. Okay. Ride the Detroit. That's money where your mouth is right there. I love it.
Yep. For me, and I'm gonna ride my Colts a little bit. I know it's only +1 over the Arizona Cardinals, but obviously what they're doing, they're my sleeper Super Bowl pick right now, and they're playing really, really good football. And Arizona's kind of tanking a little bit. DeAndre Hopkins being out really hurting Kyler Murray. So I think obviously the Colts are on an upward trend. So I'm gonna ride with my Indianapolis Colts +1 over the Arizona Cardinals.
Nick, you want to throw the challenge flag on a guy taking the upset of the week on a 1-point dog?
I knew you were going to say that, Mark.
At least he didn't take the pick'em, I guess. You wanted to tease that a little bit?
Hey, I'm trying to claw back in this thing, man,
A win is a win is a win. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. This would be a borderline cheating in the gambling world, but we'll allow it, Orlando. That's how we do. Over-unders. Orlando, you're up.
I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Knicks New York Jets, man. I'm going over 41 points there. I think two bad teams playing each other. I think, a little less defense, a lot of scoring on those. So I believe it'll be over 41 points.
This is a tough one because I just looked it up because I have my pick written down, but then I started thinking about it more as we've been talking, and I didn't like it as much, so I looked up the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the New York Jets at 41, and I think in the spirit of competition, I'm going to go against what I wrote down in my research, and I'm going to go against Orlando. I'm taking the under 41 for the Jacksonville Jaguars, New York Jets. I think these two teams are obviously struggling to figure out what they need to do. It's going to be in New York. It's going to be cold. The wind's going to be whipping through the Meadowlands. I'm going to take the under just to go for another head-to-head. I lost one. I need redemption.
There you go.
Great game though, Jags and Jets. This is what you look for with 3 weeks to go. Hey,
that's what you dream of on Boxing Day. Yeah. That's what you're looking for, right? A day after Christmas. That is the game of the week.
Happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas from Jolly St. Nick, Orlando. Yours truly, everybody here at BetSided, and we appreciate everybody checking out the show. You all have a great Christmas week and enjoy Week 16 and 3 weeks to go here. Playoffs coming around, so we're getting down to it, gentlemen. Great to be with you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Yep.